Friends, in this video for iThought Wealth, I am going to talk to you on the topic the coming PE de-rating. For a long time, price earning multiples have stayed high in the Indian markets. In fact, I have not seen such an extended period when price earning multiples stayed high across themes, whether it is small cap or mid cap or large cap or defensives. It's been elevated across the spectrum, across sectors, across themes. This is rather unusual in the Indian market, and this largely happened because of the circumstances under which you saw the COVID rally. We saw liquidity all over the market, and markets also took cues from what happened in the 2 years before COVID. So, the whole genesis of high PE ratios started before COVID, when the rest of the economy was not doing well and defensives were doing well. The markets showed a high tendency to take the PE multiples of FMCG companies up. Subsequently, the same trend happened in pharma and then in IT, and it returned with a vengeance in small and mid caps. So, across the spectrum we saw PE multiples going up, and liquidity definitely helped that. The number of new people coming into market, the amount of domestic money chasing Indian equities, the velocity or the momentum that was induced in these companies because of money coming in too fast and getting deployed in a very narrow space over a very narrow time period. All this led to the PE expansion or kept PEs high. What did this create in the minds of investors? It created a confidence in the minds of investors that PE ratio is not going to go down. This is going to stay, seems to be the consensus opinion. Just when this consensus reached its peak, we saw inflation rearing its head in a way that we have not seen in many years. When inflation reared its head, what happened is that the battle against inflation had to begin. While central banks waited hoping that it would come down, they were forced to come with even more effect when they found that it was going out of their control. This fight against inflation saw interest rates rise very fast, but the market still didn't believe that PE ratios deserve to come down. Here, the difference between what is conventional investment thinking and what was being practiced started becoming more stark. People started to ignore the fact that interest rates were rising and that would have an impact on earnings. People ignored the inflation in input costs of so many businesses, and they assumed that not only the PE ratio will remain high, they also assumed that if earnings come down, that is not going to create a sudden contraction of PE ratios. These are assumptions that will definitely not hold for too long, we all know that. And after a brief period of resistance, where it appeared that valuations won't come down so easily, we are now seeing a crack appear in valuations across the board. So, PE ratios which held firm for longer than they ought to have are now seeing a crack, and we are seeing PE ratios contract in select parts of the market with a speed that is quite surprising to those who believed that PE ratios can't go down. So, there is a shock and awe effect that is slowly setting in parts of the market. This could spread to other parts of the market. The most vulnerable part of the market where PE de-rating, reduction in PE is something that cannot be averted, is the small cap space, because here trading does not have depth. One way buying is what has created high PE ratios. To add to it, selling was very reluctant. So, you had one way buying on the one side and you did not have selling on the other side, PE ratios remained elevated. But now chances are that selling will also come exactly when we do not want it to come. And when you have selling at the most misfortunate or inopportune moment, and you also have fundamentals not supporting it, valuations will contract very fast. So, PE ratios will derate much faster than we expect, and we will also see the investment confidence take a huge knock. We are seeing PE ratios already derate in FMCG. We have seen it in tech companies from the highs, but it still probably has some distance to go. We are seeing it in pharma companies where from the crazy valuations that businesses had, PEs are definitely contracting. And we are also seeing that the valuations of banks are definitely at the lower band of their historic range, especially private banks. All this suggests that if the markets are going to see more volatility, that would probably result in further lowering of PE ratios. It will result in further lowering of investor expectations. It will increase the apathy among investors towards falling valuations, and we could see these valuations go where we do not expect they would. A PE derating is also an opportunity for investors to understand which are the companies that have the capacity to rebound. So, that is where the investment opportunity is going to be, but the risk a PE derating brings to your portfolio is that if you have not sold something that is yet to fall, when it falls, it will inflict very severe pain on your portfolio. So, as an investor, one should be very, very clear which are the companies in their portfolio which are vulnerable to PE derating and try to reduce the exposure in those companies. Try to de-risk yourself from that PE derating and try to also keep some cash which you can use to buy companies which you really like, which will derate in the coming months. A PE derating is not bad at all because it gives opportunity for investors to buy new companies, it gives opportunity for new investors to buy companies, and it gives opportunities for new ideas to come center stage, because when expensive stocks fall, even the not so expensive stocks fall in sympathy, and sometimes even the attractively valued stocks fall. When the not so expensive stocks and the attractive stocks fall, some of these could become bargains for all of us. And that is something that we should look forward to as investors in this upcoming PE derating in Indian equities. Thank you for watching this video.